Cody here, and this is my recap of The Ultimate Fighter 8, Episode 10. We start off with a recap of the fight before. That was Kyle versus Kristoff. Many fighters question why Kyle took Kristoff down. Good question. Even though that Kristoff was getting the better of the stand-up, Kyle still had a better chance standing up, as we found out with Kristoff. He actually has some submissions. Should have taken him down. Should have tried to bang with him still. Still a good reach advantage, I think, and height. Anyway, we get the more showtime for John in this episode, and it starts off with a John hug montage. Don't get to see a lot of him. You know, from when we first saw him, from when he was trying to get in the house to win that first fight, and him hugging Nogueira and stuff, you know, it was, oh, yeah, that's sweet. But I could see how this can wear thin after a while, because he's really gung-ho about hugging. And I don't have to live with them, so, yeah. And then, Roop hurts his hand while sparring, and can't make a fist with it. That's not good. Sometimes they tell you that some parts of the show are pushed into one episode, even though they're out of sequence. Like, if maybe a fighter has a fight that week, they get a segment of stuff that's happened at other times and just put it in there so you get to know the fighter a little more. And they do a little thing where John's marshmallows and his Lucky Charms are stolen or taken out by the other team. And John is pissed about it. But I get the feeling that this was shot maybe before or after the week of the fight for him. Anyway, he refuses to hug the other team. It's funny, kind of. In general, John's teammates hope he has some killer instinct because he's so happy-go-lucky. They want to see, if he really has what it takes to become, be a fighter, and just go all out trying to hurt someone. George's hand is still beeped up, still swollen. He puts it in ice, tries to get it down. Still bad. Even Nogueira notices it in the weigh-ins. You can't really hide it. Then they show Nog coming for his weekly visit at the house. He plays around with Roop, just tells him that he needs to fight him next, or when he comes to fight John, he's going to fight him too. Just horsing around and just teammate stuff. Boys being boys, or men being men, whatever. And then Nog gets John aside and talks to him about the upcoming fight and try to calm his nerves the night before. And Nogueira's done this at every guy in the house on his team's fight. He's gone to the house and tried to, get him rest assured about the fight and get him all calm and stuff, and it's really cool. Alright, I just made a little section here. Game plans. John wants to avoid, this is what John said, John wants to avoid or catch kicks to get inside and work his boxing. That's what he wants to do. And George wants to possibly take him down. That's just what I gathered from what they were saying they wanted to do. George wasn't as clear as John was. Pretty much a game plan he set out. So let's see if they can do it. And here's the fight. John versus Roop. Round 1, hug to start. Just gotta note that because it's probably the first time that's ever happened. I don't know. John wanted to hug him and they hugged. I can see that if anyone has to ever fight John anywhere else, I'd say go for the hug and get some kind of inside trip and force him down. Be him out. Roop keeps John on the outside for a while, then dives for a fast takedown. Very slick, very fast. You blink, you missed it. Landing punches in from full guard and knees inside control. He was landing some good shots. He's a really long guy. He was getting punches in from the full guard, and he was getting really strong knees on the side control. Roop finally takes his back, and John reverses into George's guard and stays there getting a few shots in until the time runs out. So that's in round 1. I gave it to George. George was mainly dominating that fight. It worried me that he lost the back so easily, but it happens. On the round 2, lots of brawling to start. John is landing more, and he had Roop not wobbled for a while, but Roop recovered and with some kicks and stuff and was able to hold him off. So good for Roop. Both fighters look tired. They're both just kind of not doing much out there. A lot of it slowed down. Their hands are low and all that jazz. Roop gets another takedown. Roop gets the back again and gets a body triangle. And it was looking good for Roop at this point. But he wasn't able to get the rear naked choke. He tried for it for a while. Then he went to like hitting elbows to the side like this, which is like the oddest looking thing. And I mean that he kind of hit right here on the below the shoulder, around the ribs. I guess I don't know. But he was trying to soften them up, but it wasn't really softening them up because he just kept on moving his hands up and keeping any rear naked choke attempts at bay. So it was almost like the takedown didn't amount much for John. For Roop. So that's how it ends, with Roop on John's back, not being able to get anything. And I really had a hard time. That was a real close round 2. So I just put draw there. I couldn't really get a conclusion out of that. That was a draw round because early on John got the better of the boxing, and on the ground Roop got the better of that. So draw. And I put round 3 here because I thought there was going to be one, but no. They went ahead and called it for George Roop, and I agree with it. He won. John's a nice guy and everything, but George Roop worked him really well here. He won that fight. And really weird because since he had a hurt hand as bad as he did. So John needs to work on, the ground game, really. And even some of his boxing, once he does the ground game, he can work more kicks. So that was that. It was a pretty good fight. I liked it. And oh my gosh, John looks awful afterwards. His nose has a big cut on it and everything, just brutal. John takes it well, of course, the loss. And there's almost like a big party at the house now because everyone's in the everyone's in the semis or you're out of the show, And I think John gets pretty much plastered. Junie gets hit with a fruit when he's out in the pool by Christoph, and he gets real mad and he storms up and he slams the door and then goes back down. And Christoph yells at him for a while, but it cools down and everything goes back to normal after a while. Then Dana lets the fighters plead their case for what fight they want next. Let's see if I can remember this. Bader wants Elliott. Elliott wanted Bader. Dana was thinking that was kind of a stupid choice because he thinks there are weaker guys in the house than Bader. But Elliott wanted Bader. He wanted to get the toughest fight of his fight on the show out of the way. And then we got Christoph wanted Bader too. And that took Mir by surprise because he thought he'd go after Vinny because he thought he could. He's in the relationship. He's like an older brother, and Vinny's like a little brother or something. And then Vinny wants Christoph because he says he talks stuff behind his back with Elliott. So that's the light heavyweights. Then for the lightweights. There we go. Felipe Nover wanted George Roop, and George Roop wanted Felipe Nover. Junie wanted Efron, and Efron wanted Junie. So when it came down to the fight, all the lightweights got the fights they wanted because they matched up perfectly to who they wanted to fight. And Bader got Elliott, and Christoph's going to get Vinny. So those are going to be your fights. Next week they're going to show Bader versus Elliott, and I think Felipe versus Roop. So those should be some interesting fights. But if Roop's hand is still messed up, I mean, I don't expect much from him in this fight. In fact, he probably will be a little just rougher around the edges even more, because his eye was swollen and stuff. He just looked bad. So tough break for that guy. But Felipe will probably go on. And I got to go with Bader going on. I think Bader will go on. I like Elliott, though. He's a nice guy. So we'll see. Alright, I'll see you next week. Pretty good episode. Oh yeah, they tease possibly some more, well, we know, Junie drama to come, so look out for that. Later.